Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here today. I want to begin by thanking the women and men of the Los Angeles Police Department. Our officers have transformed policing in the city of Los Angeles. They work day and night to protect and, just as importantly, serve the communities of Los Angeles. And their dedication to their profession is helping to make Los Angeles a safer place. I also want to thank the Police Commission and, of course, Chief Beck for his leadership and management of this department. I've said on more than a number of occasions now that although the search was exhaustive, the result, I think, demonstrated just how exhaustive that search was, because the chief has done an incredible job as chief of the Los Angeles Police Department over the year and a half now that he has served the city of Los Angeles. And over the past few years in LA, we focused on maintaining historic positive trends in crime reduction. We've kept our sights on safer communities, and the mid-year crimes snapshot once again reaffirms our commitment to a more peaceful, more collaborative, and community-based city. Now, statistics are numbers that represent our progress. The true results lie in the number of lives that we've saved, the families that will never experience random violence, and the children that play at our parks without fear. So far in 2011, overall crime and violence has dropped in Los Angeles its 9th consecutive year. At the mid-year point, our city continues to experience a citywide reduction in every major crime category. And violent crime and property crime is down once again in each of the LAPD's 4 bureaus. Now, the statistics speak volumes about the work of the Los Angeles Police Department. City-wide violent crime is down nearly 10%. Homicides are down 8%. Property crime is down 7%. And total Part 1 crime is down almost 8%. Gang crime is down a remarkable 16% over the last 6 years. And let me say that I know the chief has said again and again that it's not just putting more police officers on the street. It's changing a culture that says we've got to put as much effort in the serving as the protecting. It's collaborating with our communities. It's respecting those communities. It's working to address gang violence by focusing on the root crimes of gang violence, on providing a safety net for families who are vulnerable and exposed to the potential of their child entering gangs. It's the Summer Night Lights program, which without question is one of the unmitigated successes here in the city of Los Angeles. For the last 6 years, we've seen extraordinary improvements across all crime categories. Compared to 2005, and I don't have to tell you why I like to go back to that year. It was the year I was elected. Violent crime is down 35%. Homicides are down 41%. All these reductions after historic lows last year and the year before are testimony to the unwavering dedication of public safety. But they're also testimony to our commitment to putting boots on the ground, cops in our communities. Crime in Los Angeles is a record low because our police force is at a record high. And with more cops on our streets than ever before, we have more personnel and more tools at our disposal to fight crime and keep our cities safe. Now, in the midst of severe budget cuts that threaten the strength of the Los Angeles Police Department, if we had not engaged in efforts to address pension reform with our police officers and our firefighters. We would have lost about 2,000 police officers, the equivalent of 2,000 police officers this summer. And the summer, that I don't have to tell you, is the time of the year when we have the greatest spike in violence and in crime. So we worked together to make certain that the department would have the force necessary to serve our city, to foster the trusting relationships between residents and officers that lead to reduction in crime and homicides. And thanks to these collaborative efforts, and we couldn't have done it without the police commission, without the police department, the men and women, the anti-gang efforts, our summer youth jobs program, all of these things come into play. And we're very, very thankful that the Police Protective League agreed. And by the way, I said that there would be overwhelming support for that deal. And as I last looked, I think 95% of Protective League members voted for this. They want a more sustainable pension going forward. They want to address the escalating out-of-control costs of retiree health, but they also want to be able to do their job, and they're going to be able to do that. So again, I want to acknowledge and thank the chief and everyone else, and then finally say that, as you know, we've expanded the Summer Night Light program to 32 parks this year. Last year there were 24 parks, 700,000 visits, 400,000 meals served. This year we're expanding to 32 parks, a public-private partnership focused on the fact that we've had a 40% reduction in gang-related Part 1 crimes and a 57% reduction in gang-related homicides around those parks. No small feat when you look at why we picked those parks and those communities in the first place. There were 4 times the crime in those communities before as compared to the rest of the city. So let me bring up the man who deserves, if there was one single individual, he'll credit the men and women of the department and do all of that. But if there was one single individual who's most responsible, I give him the tools, but he gets the job done. My chief, our chief, Chief Charlie Beck.
Good afternoon. You know, this success just doesn't happen. It is the product of a city that has prioritized public safety. It's the product of a mayor and a police commission that understand that having a funded police department that believes in constitutional policing can reduce crime in a city no matter what the circumstance. As the mayor said, this is the 9th year that Los Angeles has seen significant reductions in Part 1 crime. If you go back to our worst year, which was 20 years ago, you were 4.5 times more likely to be the victim of a murder, the victim of a rape, the victim of a robbery, the victim of an auto theft, the victim of any Part 1 crime. It's an amazing transformation of the City of Angels to a place where we all can live, to a place where the police department isn't a source of angst for the city, but it's a solution to the city's problem. And I think that is what I am the proudest of. These numbers are great, and I'll go over them in depth. But I think what I take the most solace in is the fact that the police department is now seen as a solution instead of a problem. You know, and I have to say, and the mayor mentioned it, that this is not just due to good policing. This is due to good government. This is due to good community. Without the grid offices, without Guillermo Cespedes and the men and women that have devoted themselves to making this a safer city from gang violence, this wouldn't have happened. Without the mayor's relentless and untiring support of hiring to attrition to make sure that we not only expand the police department, but we don't lose any ground, this wouldn't have happened. Without a police commission that didn't support its department, this couldn't have happened. And most importantly, without a community that didn't engage this police department, that didn't appear at Summer Night Lights, that didn't work in our CPAPs, that didn't work in our youth programs, this wouldn't have happened. This is a success story, not for the police department, but for all of the city. It's amazing transformation. And you can look all over the city and see evidence of this transformation. Look in downtown, look in Hollywood, look in Rampart, look in the Valley, and see the change in just the last 5 years. It's an amazing success story, and this city should be very proud of it. Let me go over the numbers because that's what we're here for. But I think that it's so important to keep these in context. As the mayor said, violent crime down 9.6% from last year. And remember, last year was an incredibly successful year for the Los Angeles Police Department and the city of LA. Homicides down 8%. So what does that mean? That's 13 fewer people that have been killed at the hands of another this year as compared to last year. And last year was our best year since 1966. That's amazing. We are on track again this year to have under 300 homicides. That's a number that I never thought I would see as a Los Angeles police officer. An amazing, amazing feat for the city of Los Angeles. Robberies, the taking of somebody's property by force, down 11% from last year. Aggravated assaults, down 7%. There is one thing that I do have to talk about, though. We have seen an increase in significant assaults against Los Angeles police officers. So far this year, we've had 50% more ADWs, assault with a deadly weapon, on police officers than we did last year. Now, if you go to a 5-year trend, it isn't that dramatic. But still it points out that even though this city is safer than it ever was, it's not safer for everybody. You know, the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department literally put their lives and their safety on the line in order to achieve these results, and I think it's important that we remember that. Property crime, the aspect that all pundits predicted would go crazy in the city of Los Angeles because of the economy, also down. Burglaries down 3.5%. Grand theft autos down an amazing 10.9%. Burglary theft from vehicles down 11%. And personal thefts, things like shoplift, down 3%. What we talk about the most when we talk about crime in Los Angeles, though, is gang crime. Gang crime, unfortunately, defines violent crime in this city. Every year, without exception, about 60% of our homicides are gang-related. About 25% of our overall violent crime is gang-related. So we put significant effort in making sure that we reduce gang violence. And we've had a tough year for that. You know, we had to implement financial disclosure that caused a weakening of some of our gang units, but they're back to full strength now. The economy, the early release program from state prisons, all factor in to gang crime. But still, we've been able to make progress. And gang crime, as the mayor said, down over 16% throughout the city. An amazing, amazing statistics. These numbers are good, but I think it's important that we look at the things behind them. And I want to thank the media for your coverage of some of the events that have stirred the public involving Los Angeles police officers over the last few months. One of the events that you covered was on July 1st. Officer Joseph Jarrett was dining with his wife when he saw an assault occurring in a restaurant. This assault involved an estranged husband who attacked his wife, a worker at the restaurant, with a knife. Jarrett stepped in, took the suspect into custody, didn't have to use deadly force, thank God, but saved a violent crime from happening in the city of Los Angeles while he was off duty. You also covered, just a couple of weeks ago, Officers Kim and Lamb at Santa Monica Boulevard and Western when they rescued a citizen from a burning car. Amazing heroism, amazing heroism. And then one of the other pieces that I wanted to bring up was a friend of mine, Officer Spiro Roditis, who single-handedly captured what was an individually known as a shotgun bandit after working diligently with his detectives to develop clues. This is an individual that terrorized the Mid-Wilshire area, robbing and killing seemingly at will for a 2-week period. So my thanks to Sparrow. My thanks to the other men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department. My thanks to the support of the City of Los Angeles, the Mayor, the Police Commission, our Gang Reduction and Youth Development. A really, really good start to what I hope continues to be a great year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Make sure I get the numbers of those people to call them and thank them as well. We talk a lot about the change culture and the fact that our police officers put as much effort in the serving as they do the protecting, and that's very, very important. And one of the people responsible for really helping to bring this department to where it is today, a department that believes in community policing, a department that's reaching out and collaborating with all of our communities in the way that it does, is the Commission President, Police Commission President John Mack. And then you'll introduce
Thank you, Mayor Villaraigosa. I would like, first of all, on behalf of my colleagues, to thank you. Thank you very much for your steadfast and outstanding leadership and commitment to the Los Angeles Police Department, your support of the Commission, and just the consistent support that you have provided. It has made a huge difference, and I'm sure that as we stand here today to rightfully speak with great pride about the great accomplishments in terms of crime reduction, it could not have been accomplished without your leadership and your support. And as the mayor has also already indicated, Chief Beck, we commend you for your great leadership. One of the things that makes me so proud to stand here as president of the Police Commission and as a member of this commission over the past 6 years is that we see a new LAPD, a police department for the 21st century, one in which there's been this consistent reduction in crime, and particularly violent crime, done by the great, great men and women of this department, demonstrating the greatest professionalism and commitment to public service that I have ever witnessed. But having done so with keeping in mind the importance of constitutional policing, keeping in mind the importance of respecting the diverse communities that this department serves. I'm also proud of the fact, and certainly this is something that I know Mayor and I talked about early on when he was getting ready to appoint me to this commission. We wanted to see, and I'm proud to say today that we see a department of men and women who truly reflect the diversity of this city. And I think that all of that has gone a long way toward not only reducing crime, but developing the kind of partnerships and relationships that the mayor and the chief have talked about. So I want to commend you, Chief, congratulate you and all of the men and women on behalf of the Police Commission, and also acknowledge my colleague, Richard Druin, who is a member of the Police Commission, and I'm sure that Rick joins with me in saluting this department. And as the oversight body for the department, we're proud of the partnership that we have with LAPD, and so proud of the great accomplishments that you have achieved.
Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the work of Guillermo Cespedes and his Gang Reduction Youth Development team. I'll have the mayors, many of the nation's mayors here in town later in the month. One of the good things about being president is they get to come to LA instead of me going to their town. And but at that meeting, they're going to get an opportunity to see a Summer Night Lights program. People are talking about it all across the country. Our gang reduction and youth development efforts are now one of the best practices, as I've said for a couple of years now. And to think it was created out of thin air, because there really wasn't a template for doing it. And I just want to acknowledge Jeff Carr initially, and now Guillermo Céspedes for their work. And then if I could do a few words in Spanish. Quiero agradecer a las mujeres y a los hombres de la Policía de Los Ángeles que trabajan día y noche para proteger y servir a nuestras comunidades. También quiero agradecer la Comisión de Policía y, por supuesto, gracias a Jefe Beck por su liderazgo de este departamento. En los últimos años en Los Ángeles nos hemos enfocado en seguir reduciendo los niveles de crimen. Hasta ahora, en el 2011, la delincuencia en general y la violencia ha disminuido en Los Ángeles por el 9º año consecutivo. A mitad de año, nuestra ciudad continúa experimentando una reducción en cada categoría de delito grave, y de los delitos violentos y los delitos contra la propiedad se ha reducido una vez más en cada una de las 4 zonas de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. En comparación con 2005, y uso ese año porque eso fue el año cuando empecé como el alcalde, el crimen violento se ha bajado un 35%, los homicidios ha disminuido a 41%, crimen en Los Ángeles se encuentra en un mínimo histórico. Desde los tiempos cuando estuve volando los zapatos en el centro de Los Ángeles, 1959, fue la última vez que teníamos 109,000 crímenes que se llama crímenes de parte 1, que son crímenes serias de propiedad y crímenes violentos. Crimen en Los Ángeles se encuentra en un mínimo histórico debido a que nuestra fuerza policial está a un nivel de récord. Y gracias a la colaboración con nuestros agentes de policía, hemos llegado a un acuerdo fundamental con el sindicato de policías que genera millones de dólares en ahorros y pone más oficiales de policía en las calles de Los Ángeles durante estos tiempos del verano. Estamos muy, muy agradecidos por el trabajo de todos. Quiero decir que la violencia panderil alrededor de los 24 parques de Summer Night Lights se ha reducido 57%. Esos son los homicidios alrededor de los 24 parques, y ahora estamos expandiendo esos parques a 32. El año pasado vino 700 visitantes, dimos a comer a más de 400 personas y esperamos que vamos a continuar el récord de bajar crimen alrededor de estos parques como lo hemos hecho en el pasado. So, muchas gracias a todos. And with that, the chief or myself or anybody would be more than happy to answer your questions.
Fairly has unique crimes, in particular with so many celebrities here in the case of the arrest of a gentleman who was apparently trying to break into Halle Berry's house and arrested last night. First off, your thoughts about that, and then what can be done to prevent that from happening?
I don't have any knowledge about that crime, so I'll let the chief speak to that. But I will say that you know, in a city this size and with the proliferation of guns and assault weapons on our streets, there's still too much violence. All of us are going to continue to make every effort to reduce gun and gang violence in our city. But I'll let the chief speak to that. incident?
Well, LA is a city that's captivated by celebrity, and since we do have such an inordinate number of celebrities and stars, we do see stalking incidents. We do see people that become enamored inappropriately with celebrity. I have a specific unit, our threat management unit, that deals with this. You know, obviously, Ms. Berry has the wherewithal for private security and has a very secure home. But there's a couple of things that are at play here. One, the fascination with the public with celebrity, and then two, the information that's available. I mean, literally nobody's home is a secret. You know, there's very little that is not in the public eye. So, you know, it takes diligence, it takes cooperation. We have a specific unit within the LAPD that handles that, but you're still going to have these incidents. And, you know, it's how you deal with them. It's what kind of protection orders you get put in place. It is having the consistency of detectives that are skilled at this. You know, it is an issue that is going to occur in Los Angeles and that we have to deal with. And that's something that, as you say, many other police departments aren't used to.
Any other questions? ¿De qué? Oh. The 405. Sí, mira, estamos tratando la clausura del autopista 405 como si era un desastre o un evento de una magnitud, una emergencia, por ejemplo. Vamos a tener oficiales de la policía, de los bomberos, del CHP, del departamento de transporte. Todos los diferentes agencias van a estar juntos trabajando, coordinando y colaborando, asegurar que podemos mover los vehículos de emergencia, por ejemplo, asegurar que los hospitales van a tener la habilidad de que su personal van a llegar a trabajar. Y lo que estamos diciendo es, mira, no queremos un Carmageddon. Y la manera de evitar un desastre es asegurar que todos entienden que si no tienen que estar en el oeste de Los Ángeles, no vienen por carro. Si quieren caminar, si quieren ir por autobús, los autobuses son libres y los trenes urbanos son libres también por esos por 53 horas que vamos a cerrar la autopista, y esperamos que todos entienden que la mejor manera de evitar una congestión increíble es no venir a esa área si no es absolutamente necesario. Pueden ir a comprar alrededor de sus comunidades, pues, shop till you drop, shop LA, pero downtown LA, el Valle de San Fernando, Hollywood. Si quieren caminar o ir por autobús a Century City, lo pueden hacer, pero no deberían de entrar en ese área durante este tiempo. Okay? You want me to do that in English? Sure. Okay, I'll do it again. She asked me about the 405 closure, and as you know, again, and we can't really mention it enough, thank you for asking that question. For 53 hours, the freeway, the 405 between the 101 and the 10 freeway, what is historically known as the Sepulveda overpass, will be closed. It will begin to close off-ramps and on-ramps starting at 7 p.m. on Friday. The entire freeway will be closed by midnight, and we're urging people to stay home, to barbecue, to go on vacation, not to go to that area by car unless absolutely necessary, unless it's an emergency. We're inviting people to shop LA, to shop to walk to the shopping centers around them. So if they live in the West LA area, walk to Century City. If they live in the Valley, go to Topanga Plaza, the Sherman Oaks Galleria. There are a number of places where people can go to shop, to eat, but do so in a way that stays away from that area. It doesn't have to be Carmageddon. I know that's the term that people are using right now, but I saw a New York Times writer here a while back, maybe he's not here any longer, but if you've read some of the newspapers from around the country, they're actually acknowledging that LA has put together an incredible effort to avoid gridlock and to avoid Carmageddon. The best way to do it is to continue to educate the public. Stay away from the area. Don't go to that area unless you absolutely have to. We will have a unified command center with the LAPD, the fire department, the transportation department. Chief and I will be there throughout the weekend, or maybe Passinger, I don't know who'll be, but he'll definitely be there. I'll be there because I recognize just how significant an event this is. But the best way to make sure it was just another weekend is to avoid the area. And remember, buses in the area will be free. The train, the subway, light rail lines in those areas, Orange Line, the Red Line, will be free. We want to make things as simple as possible for as many people as possible, but we need your cooperation. No other questions? Oh, yes.
You know, the investigation continues. There are still over 100 clues that have not been worked to their final solution. So we continue to work, and we will continue to work.
Do you continue to get tips to this day?
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. As I said, there's over 100 tips right now that have been cataloged, that have been pre-screened, but have not been acted on. So, you know, there's plenty left to do.
Are you getting closer to filing charges?
Every day we get closer to filing charges. That is the goal of doing an investigation.
Thank you very much.